Welcome to summer in Northeast Ohio, where the temperatures are hot and the housing market is sizzling. Now, yes, indeed, I was reading the Wall Street Journal today, and remember that when we look at housing statistics, we're always looking in arrears, meaning we're looking behind us. We don't know what's coming, but we can look behind. So the Wall Street Journal had this scintillating headline: home sales slide, turn to page A2. So I turned to A2. Whoops. See, that newspaper kind of flew away. And it says home sales season ends on a sour note. Who says it's ending? It is only July. Now I understand they're looking at stats for June. Home sales declined in June, ending the housing market spring season on a bad note as buyers grappled with high mortgage rates and record home prices. I don't know about you, but when my parents bought a home, their interest rates were in the double digits. Now, I get it, inflation was different, and nothing is as it was. That's the truth. However, what I'm not so stressed out that the housing market nationwide is in a small decline in June. Why? Because I'm looking at our local housing market as the most important driving factor. And in fact, when you really go to the next section in the Wall Street Journal, the mansion section, which you'd put out on Fridays, the funny thing is you'd think that the housing market was just as amazing as it is because, hey, San Francisco housing booms again. So what is it? Newspapers, get it straight. They're just reporting global statistics. What we want to know is what's going on right here in Northeast Ohio. If you like videos like this, I really ask you to like, to subscribe, to share this with a friend. It really matters, and I do appreciate it. So, with no further ado, let's talk about Cuyahoga County, and then let's get hyper-local. The number one question I get every single day when I'm out in town is, Shoshana, how's the market? And you know I have my answer, right? If you know me, my answer is, well, are you a buyer, a seller, or an investor? Because you see, they're all different. And that's true. If you're a buyer, you might be feeling the pinch of grocery prices being up and gasoline being what it is and inflation just hovering at that nice hefty number that it's at. If you're a seller, you might be excited to note today's prices because, hey, you've been in your house for a hot minute and you're ready to sell, and prices are absolutely higher than you would have thought in your particular city. And if you're an investor, you're looking for a good deal, because I know for my investor friends out there, you have to win on the buy, meaning that when you purchase the home, you have to get a great price in the purchase. And I've got you there with a couple of tips. So stick with me to the end. All right, let's talk about Cuyahoga County for a minute. I have my stats right here printed out. I'm going to read them to you. June 2026 was a seller's market. Closed sales were up 9.8% compared to year over year. So compared to last year, 2025, at this exact time. That's pretty significant. There's also only 1.6 months of inventory. Why does that matter? Well, when we're looking to price a home, we're looking at average days on market because, my friend, I will tell you, if the price isn't compelling, it's not selling. And if you're priced too high, you will sit on the market for a long time and you will beat the average days on market, not in a good way. To beat average days on market, you're going to need to price in a really compelling way, and we'll have to have that discussion when you have one of our team agents out for a listing appointment. Okay, on that note, like I said, if you like market stats like this and you're interested in Cuyahoga County in specific and Northeast Ohio in general, give us a like and share this video with somebody who needs the information. It really does help. I have one little piece of bad news to temper that, though. Overall prices are down 4.8% in Cuyahoga County year over year. That was a surprise to me. I looked that up just this morning and I was like kind of bummed out about that. And you know, that's just the way it is. Sometimes, you know, prices just may not be where we want them to be. So now we're going to go to a couple of things. We're going to go to one suburb that you know I really like. We're going to talk about team agents, and we're going to talk about the tips that I had for investors. I've got a couple of little things, or really not even just investors, really tips for buyers of any sort. For investors, I have something special I want to say at the end. The suburb I want to look at right this minute, as you can guess, is I'm going to look at single-family homes in Beachwood, Ohio. In the last 6 months, 46 homes sold in Beachwood. 46 homes sold in Beachwood in the last 6 months. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the statistics of what those sales were like. And I'm going to drag this over to this screen so that we can all see it together. Woo! We'll see if we can drag in an easy and effective manner. And what I'll show you here is that our average sale price in Beachwood, you ready for this? Our average sale price in Beachwood was $681,000. So if you're buying a home for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 even, know that you are below the average sale price in Beachwood. That's actually a little bit interesting. The other thing I'm seeing is that houses in Beachwood are selling at 100.45. Okay, let's just call it 100. 100% of asking, meaning you're not going to get a crazy bargain. What I'm seeing is that the highest homes are actually selling way over asking, even average of 117% over asking. That means for a $100,000 home, you're going to need to pay at least $117,000 for the house, even though that does not exist in Beachwood, but just note that. And I will say that the average days on market, as we discussed, very important number, is actually average is 35. That's not short. That's kind of long-ish. Now, I'm not looking at year over year right there, right? I'm looking at stats today for the last 6 months of this year. So that's January, February, March, April, May, June of 2026. Interesting stats in Beachwood. Now, the other thing that I always like to look at is I like to look at what's the overall average sale price in Cuyahoga County. And what I notice usually year over year, we're right hovering in that 250 mark. So when the Wall Street Journal here mentions that average home price nationwide, well, they call it the median, not call it, they're looking at the median, not the average, but okay. National median. Oh, by the way, if you don't remember the difference between median and average, it's really easy to remember because for median, you're stacking up the things and that's the number in the middle. The average is all the numbers totaled divided by the number. You can talk to your probably 5th, 6th grade teachers for more help on the average and the median. And the average median, not average, the national median existing home price in June rose to $440,600, 446, which is up 1.8% from a year ago. Let's say that again. The average existing median home price in June rose to $440,600, rose 1.8%. That is a really hefty average sale price. So if you find a market that is less than $440,000, you are still doing better than the vast majority of people in the United States of America. Meaning your average sale price here in Cleveland, and when I say Cleveland, I mean Cleveland loosely, Cuyahoga County, Lorain County, Lake County, Medina, our surrounding counties, Summit County, etc. Here in Northeast Ohio, when you're looking at that average sale price of around $250,000, you are doing really, really well because you're beating the median sale price in the entire country. Now, if you like housing videos, you might wonder why statistics matter. One thing I've noticed from reading the Wall Street Journal over a few years, and yes, we do get the actual paper version of this, what I've noticed is that there's a few industries you might not have thought about that much that truly affect the whole economy. Yes, there's of course oil and gas prices. There's the food industry, very, very important because obviously we all need to eat. There is the fashion industry, which you might think only has to do with what you wear. Guess what? It is a global industry and really an important part of the economy as well. And housing plays a huge role right up there with the important markets. So let's talk about a couple of tips and where we should go from here. Okay, first of all, I want you to pop into the YouTube description here. You can find a couple of links that are really important to you. One is to get your home value, and the other is to connect with a team agent. We have our team agents here who are total experts in their areas, both geographically, both working with buyers and working with sellers, and yes, my friends, working with investors. Now, my investor friends, I want to talk about something. I know you want a house that's $50,000 or $60,000. I know. You used to call me 10 years ago and want a house that was like $14,000 or $15,000. That's 1.4 and 1.5, okay? The $50,000 and $60,000 houses in the multiple listing service today are junk. They are. Do they exist? They exist. Can you buy one? You can buy one. Do not expect that your instant returns are going to come from $40,000 and $50,000 houses. I want you to bump your price point up a little bit. And I want you to run your numbers. And I want you to be in this for the long haul. Do not buy a house thinking you're going to get in and get out a year later and make an insane profit. It just ain't going to happen. So that's number one. Number two, where's the housing market going? As I've said for years, I ain't got no crystal ball. Sorry, my friends, don't have it. Just don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. If I was to guess for 2026, I would say we'll remain flat, which I consider actually a win because that means we didn't go down. We will see though, time remains to tell. And like I say, I cannot really truly predict anything. Okay, lastly, my tips. My tips are, I want you to call a local lender. I want you to call, not a text, not an email. I want you to pick up the phone and I want you to actually talk to somebody and I want you to ask them a couple of financial questions to make sure that you're in a strong position to buy. I want you to make sure you're paying your credit card bills on time. I want you to make sure you're paying your utilities, your medical bills, all your car payments, all the things. I want you to get your credit score nice and tidy. And I want you to talk to a local lender. How can I be in a great position to buy when I find the right house? Because there's not that much inventory. As we said, there's only 1.6 months of inventory out there in the entire county. It's not that much. It's just not that much house. There's not that many homes. You need to be ready to jump the minute you find the house. Okay, number two, and again, like this video, share it with a friend, and pop down into the link below to call one of our local agents. Here's my final tip. My final tip is actually for my investor friends, and that's a hidden market. I want you to consider Euclid. Euclid is a great city. It's lakefront. Is it luxury? Typically not. It has housing stock of all types, a lot of little bungalows, and the city point of sale inspections are not that bad. So I want you to hop on that market. I want you to look at Euclid. I want you to study Euclid. And I want you to give us a call if we can be of any help in regards to buying, selling, or investing in real estate right here in Northeast Ohio. Have a great day. Have a great summer. Stay cool, my friends. It is going to be great.